killed 400 or 500.
So, serial killers. One of the most American trademarked things ever. Everybody knows what a serial killer is, correct?
Except for children.
Except for kids that are sheltered. You probably know the name Jeffrey Dahmer, or Ted Bundy, or John Wayne, Green River Killer, all of which are American serial killers.
Some of them went outside of America and killed.
Some of them went outside. So we're going to kind of talk about and go over some of the serial killers. First one, starting off with Jeffrey Dahmer. So you know a lot about serial killers, correct?
Yep.
So Jeffrey Dahmer grew up kind of around, Midwest-ish area?
I don't remember. I knew exactly where he lived earlier, but the way he grew up was horrible.
He grew up in a not-so-great household.
His mom, if I remember right, was on pills.
Yeah, she was like a druggie.
She left with his brother, only his brother.
Yeah, and then he was left with his dad, correct?
Yeah, and then his dad supported his activities, which was cutting apart dead animals.
And then he have a little shed in the woods that he'd work on.
No,
that's just a movie adaptation.
It was connected to the house.
It's connected to the house, and he would do what to him? He'd preserve them or
The animals?
Yeah.
Oh, he'd cut them apart, put them in acid to clean out the bones, then grind
Which
the bones
would later on come back in his kills, where he would dissolve people.
First kill.
And go all the way through all of his kills.
He scattered the bones across his yard.
Damn. So Jeffrey Dahmer was queer, which a lot of people think could have led into him, because it wasn't a very accepting time. He grew up in the 70s, 80s-ish area. So it wasn't a great time for people like him of the queer community, which kind of had a lot of pent-up self-hate and hatred towards others.
He definitely had problems with himself.
Yeah.
If you actually read about him and stuff, and the way he grew up, it was just horrible. He watched his dad and mom fight all the time, so that helped with his mental
His parents were
problems.
divorced, correct?
Yeah, I think after she ran away, I think they got divorced.
So when Dahmer was 18, 19-ish, he had his first kill, a man named Stephen Hicks. He committed his first murder in 1978, 3 weeks after his graduation on June 18th. He picked up Stephen Hicks, who was a hitchhiker who was around 19, and lured him towards his house with the pretext of, hey, we're going to drink, we're going to hang out, we're going to have fun, blah, 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 blah.
It was believed to be more like an accidental killing.
An accidental killing? How so?
If you've watched the movie, which, what's his name? He had to go to therapy after making the movie. He plays Silver.
He also plays the dude in
Quicksilver. I can't remember.
Quicksilver and Tate Langdon from. We can look up see who the actor is. Evan Peters.
Yeah, that's what it is. But he had to go to therapy after playing him.
Due to how traumatizing the role was.
Mm-hmm. He didn't want to show some of the stuff he did, so they had to cut part of it out.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, it's a pretty accurate thing on what Jeffrey Dahmer did.
So, after he murdered Stephen Hicks, he did what to him?
From what we see, he cut him. He stored him under the crawl area.
Under the crawl area of his house.
And then after a while, he pulled him out. He cut him up. He put him in acid, like he learned from all the dead animals.
Dissolved him.
And then he started hitting the bones with hammers and grinding them up.
To kind of turn them into a powder.
And then scattered them across the yard.
How did nobody notice that happen?
It was a pretty secluded house.
I'm assuming he was probably home alone at the time as well.
Mm-hmm. Dad barely came home.
His dad was out all the time. Drunk, working. After that, he continued on with a murder spree, killing in total supposedly he killed in total 17 victims that we know of.
One got away.
One of them got away, and that's how the police were called.
One of them was the police's fault that got killed. They could have lived.
That was the dude he was a younger boy, Asian, I believe. Jeffrey Dahmer kidnapped him, took him to his home, and I believe he knocked him out or drugged him or something.
Yeah, he had already shot the acid into his brain.
Yeah, he had drilled a hole into the dude's skull, dumped acid in the guy's
Trying
brain.
to make a sex slave.
Trying to make a sex zombie, sex slave kind of thing. But the kid was still aware. He was still conscious. He was there. Wasn't enough acid.
So he managed to
kill him.
stumble out of the apartment, get out of the apartment, walk down. He was butt naked too.
Mhm.
So he walked all the way down. Some lady saw him, called for help, and Dahmer got there when the police were there questioning him, and he said, "He's my boyfriend," blah blah, which is very obvious because that boy did not look.
The boy was
old.
what, like 14-ish?
Yeah, and Dahmer claimed that he was 18.
And the police kind of believed him and said, okay, well, you guys go back to your apartment. Just don't let him get out again.
Mostly because they were against gays.
Yeah, they didn't really want to deal with him. Like,
And when they got to the apartment, they're like, we're not going to see anything gay and weird, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, they just, he showed photos of him with the boy and then went, there you go. And so, well, it all started because he offered money for photos of him naked.
And that's how he'd lure in most of his men, is he'd find them at, like, especially gay bars and, like, out on the streets. He'd be like, hey, I really like your body. You're really cool, so I'll pay you if you let me take photos of your body, and if you let me do this, this, and this, and then I'll let you go. And a lot of those men were like, okay, we'll do it. And then we're never seen again alive.
Yeah, well, he did creepier things than that. He would keep their skulls in the fridge.
Did keep their bones a
bone
lot.
parts, and worse, their extremities. So, it's pretty deranged.
That is pretty deranged.
Treat your kids good.
Raise them well, and hopefully they won't turn out to be serial killers.
Unless they're born it.
Unless they're born crazy. So, at one point, Jeffrey Dahmer was even pulled over with bags of bodies in the back of his car. And the police pulled him over and they questioned it, and he ended up saying it was what, bags of leaves?
Something like that.
That is how you do it. That is how you get away with murder.
He failed to get away with everything, though.
Yes, but that is how you get away with it in the moment.
Well, he's a white guy that they think is straight. They're not going to question him much.
They're not going to question a gay dude. Especially back in that time, seeing as they really didn't want anything to do with them.
They did. The cops didn't know he was gay.
True.
They saw a white guy, a straight white guy, and went, you're probably fine. Now, if he was black, it would have been, we need to check those.
Or if they knew he was gay, it would have been, we need to check that. Or if they knew, because back in time, minorities were very much hated.
Yeah.
He ended up getting caught bribing. So how he got caught was he bribed a man to come back and let him take photos again. Handcuffed the man. Basically, then he took the man to his room, kind of laid on his chest for a bit, and he was like, I'm gonna carve your heart out and eat it to the guy. And the guy was like, hey, listen, dude, I'm your friend. I'm not gonna leave. Like, that was the whole thing, right? And Jeffrey kind of believed it. Didn't let him out of the handcuffs, but definitely kind of like let him go to the bathroom on his own, let him go into the living room, watch TV, drink some beers, which the bathroom thing was inevitably how the guy got away, correct? He jumped out a window.
Yeah, he was able to get the police.
And he went to go get the police and came back and
They didn't believe a victim. Might have been that victim, but there's one victim that they did not believe because he was black.
I think I know who you're talking about, yeah. And so when the officers eventually came in, they found photos of dismembered bodies, heads in his freezers, many body parts, organs, at least, I think it was like 72, 75 photos of him with the dismembered and dead bodies.
2 barrels full of acid with body
Yeah,
parts.
3 torsos within those barrels, dissolving. Honestly, I think it's really stupid to keep all this stuff.
Why would you keep it?
You don't keep that. If you want to get away with murder, you're not going to keep all the that you, like, get rid of it.
Especially in the same place. Like, the neighbors could smell it.
Exactly, you don't keep Jeffrey Dahmer was stupid to keep
And he also didn't clean the blades.
No,
so
he
there's
didn't.
no blood.
Exactly, he's stupid. He should have gotten rid of the body parts, and he should have done this and that, and blah, blah, blah,
He
blah.
didn't want to get rid of some of them because he was eating some of it.
Well, yeah, well, eat them faster. Eat them faster. Am I wrong?
Time to make a ham.
Eat them faster. Like, I don't care if you have body parts in your house, eat eat them faster, or the police are gonna find it.
He should have had like a secondary location if he was gonna put it in acid and let it dissolve.
Exactly.
And if you wanted to keep some of it, have a secondary location.
Exactly.
Get, like,
Don't keep it in your.
I don't suggest a storage unit because that's a little too.
Don't keep it in your house.
Yeah, it's a little too public.
Exactly.
Especially, it wasn't a house; it was an apartment.
It was an apartment. That means there's other people nearby that are gonna smell it.
He told them his fish had died.
I'm gonna be honest. If I was him, no fish is gonna make that smell.
I know.
Stupid. If I was him, I would have moved everything to a different location. I would have been a lot more. No, you can't go to the bathroom on your own because
He was
it's
intelligent. He would have built his own little cabin in the woods and stored it there.
exactly. Or have not lived in an apartment at the very least.
But he had abandonment issues. That was the one part he couldn't let go of it. But it's like you can keep parts of it, just ones that won't be bound and stink that bad. Keep the huge parts and stuff at a secondary location.
Exactly. Moving on, Ted Bundy. So,
Ted Bundy had so many opportunities to escape, and
he had so many opportunities to actually like be a good person too.
yeah, the thing is though, he was a law student, so he could have gotten away if he hadn't jumped out the window.
Yeah, cause so he started killing and he confessed to 30 murders
It's thought to be more.
that happened between 1874 and 1878. It's supposedly more, cause who knows what he could have gotten away with. He was, like when he was younger, he was a very good kid, from what I've heard. I heard he had a great future in law school. He was so interested in law, being like a lawyer, part of that kind of stuff. And he even met, he met a woman at law school and was loved by this woman. And this woman comes in part later too, because this woman had long, darker hair and was like college age, because they met in college.
Oh yeah, and he got someone pregnant too.
But he ended up kind of starting to fail school. And I think even while he was dating this girl and while he was in college, he tried to beat up a girl on the streets, or like he hit her and then just ran.
He always had problems with women.
He always had problems with it because
he just hated them.
No, he claimed while in court and in prison, his whole problem was he started watching porn at a young age, and due to that, started seeing women as objects. Because it objectified the women in the videos, and that's what kind of started it all.
I would kind of believe that. If not, had he been able to treat some women perfectly normal.
And he did. He was supposedly a great boyfriend and fiance.
So it makes you question, he's probably lying about that.
He could be, or it could be one of those things where he's like a psychological, I don't know what you'd call it, manipulator, and can make him seem like a good
He's
dude.
a horrible and dumb person for is when he managed to escape the court, he went to Florida and killed more instead of, he could have gone to Florida, done nothing. No one
He
would
could have started over, but he was too stupid
Yeah,
to do
no one
that.
would have figured out because there was no police communication back then.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't have known if he had not been a dumb when killed the sorority people.
Yeah, but so his thing with killing though was after his first like girlfriend, the one he like liked in college, broke up with him. That's when he started killing people. And similar traits was typically they'd have longer dark hair and it would be college age, which was a similar description to what the person who broke up with him was like. And so a lot of people think it was like pent up hate and rage towards that woman that he was taking out women that looked
That's what
similar.
a lot of killers end up being.
It ends up being people that look like either their mom or their dad or the people who hurt them the most in life.
Yeah.
But he had kind of a double life thing going on. He ended up dating this other girl, and this girl had a daughter too, and apparently he was a very fatherly figure towards
No.
his... No?
Nope.
I heard at first he was like pretty nice.
He molested her.
He did. I think that
Reports
was
say
like...
he molested her.
That was later on kind of. Like at first though he was really sweet.
In the movie, the person who plays him refused, if they were going to play the person, they refused to have them ever say that he did that. Because playing that character, he's in movies kids watch, and he refused for what kid to end up watching that and think he's a child molester and think all of that.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
But yes, reports say that Ted Bundy molested the kid.
But at first within the relationship he was actually, according to the woman, very sweet, very nice. But eventually the relationship went on. He started becoming more abusive towards her and her daughter. But for some reason she didn't leave. And I think it was more of like, if I leave, I can't leave kind of a thing. So he ended up killing, blah, blah, blah. He got arrested. Wasn't he trying to be his own lawyer in court too?
Yep.
And he could have done that. He could have wiggled his way out of it, again, like you said, had he not tried to escape.
He could have made up a story about the teeth thing, which apparently he tried to, but he used his privileges of being his own lawyer, so he got to go into the library and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He used those privileges after calling her multiple times, trying to get her to answer the phone. And she said, I can't do this no more, because he got accused so many times.
Mm-hmm.
He just got angry and kind of just poof. And then he ended up having a relationship, which was probably the dumbest things he could. People think he paid off the security guard after he got arrested again to have, what do you call those meetings where you can hold each other and stuff?
I think I just call them one-on-ones.
Yeah, whatever. But he either paid off the guard or something else, because he ended up meeting a girl that he knew in like high school or college or something that had a huge crush on him. They ended up doing things, and then she got pregnant.
While he was in prison, and like in that meeting. Dang. So he is kind of like a dad, basically, not a good one.
Either that, she got pregnant there, or there's a theory that she had him dump his stuff into a condom and then she snuck it out.
Oh, dang. That's kind of weird. Okay.
Yep. No one ever said that person was saying.
But another thing, like you kind of mentioned the teeth marks, that was like the firm proof that he did it, correct? Like that was a firm, like, he's the one.
To be fair, all he had to do was buy some freaking teeth putty and hide it. Even back then they had
or
putty
just
that
hear
you
me
put in
out.
your teeth.
Don't bite your victims. You heard it here. Don't bite people. Like, first off, ew, because weren't they dead when he bit them or something like that, or like
Some of them. Some were postpartum, some were frickin'.
First off, ew, dead people. Ugh. Though he would go back and visit them multiple times.
I'm wondering why he bit them so hard.
Hard enough to leave marks too, because like if like
from what they said, it broke skin.
That's like
it was on her breast and buttocks, I think.
Well, that doesn't make sense because that's like apparently the most malleable tissue on a woman, and so then it'll like keep imprints longer. But also, depending on how long it was, those bites should have eventually kind of gone away if he had just been more careful.
No, if they're dead, they're saying.
Okay, well that makes sense. But if he like did it when they were alive, and had he just been more gentle, they would have gone away, and he wouldn't have gotten caught for those ones.
Yeah.
And he could have also claimed, like, for the biting on the dead people, been like, oh yeah, I met up with her, like, a bit before she disappeared. This probably happened right after. He could have claimed something like that, but he didn't, because he was too, like...
He kept on trying to escape prison. I think he escaped 2 prisons or something.
He escaped a couple times, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, again...
He kept on getting caught.
He kept getting caught, and then he went to Florida for one of them, and then he got caught there after killing sorority girls, which, again, should have just started over your life.
Didn't he have a certain vehicle, Volkswagen or something?
That's actually how he originally got caught, is he had a stolen car.
Yeah.
And they got pulled over again.
It was the same that matched his car that he had.
If he didn't get...
Before he got arrested.
If he didn't steal a car, he could have gotten away with everything, probably. He probably never would have been caught.
If he stopped killing the way he did and kind of switched up his MO.
Yeah, if he switched it up, he wouldn't have got caught.
Because there's a large manhunt by him, and there's especially how many sorority he killed that night.
Yeah.
It was all over the news.
And like if maybe he like switched up his age range and switched up his tactics and didn't steal a car, then he could have gotten away with it. Yep. Like basic knowledge: don't steal cars if you're gonna go murder someone. Because then the police are gonna pull you for a stolen car. And they're probably going to figure it out. Don't escape prison if you can be your own lawyer. Just law your way out of it. Third off, if you're going to run and flee, start over. Either change up your tactics completely or just stop.
It's really hard for serial killers to stop.
It is, but it's not impossible.
It'd be best to change.
But it'd be best to change up your tactics.
Depends if you're a psychopath or not.
Like him, he could have just stopped killing sororities and gone, maybe like aged up a few years and killed out of college people.
He was, what do you call those people that are all about themselves?
A narcissist?
Yeah, he was a narcissist. And
Yeah.
a psychopath mixed in one. or a sociopath.
Yeah.
But he was all that and mixed in one.
So he kind of just like a bunch of
apparently he had a
problems.
good childhood though. So.
Apparently, I heard his parents were pretty decent. They loved
So
him.
he grew up good. It's just he wasn't right in the head.
I don't think he was. But he didn't show any signs as a kid, did he?
Most don't actually.
I know, but a lot of like the well-known ones end up doing. Like Jeffrey, he killed.
Yeah, some of them would kill
Animals.
animals and disfigure them and all that. Some set fires and wet the bed actually. So.
Damn. Huh.
So they're very destructive.
Green River Killer. This one was. Did this one happen nearby? Green River Killer, also known as Gary Leon Ridgway, was born in 1949. Old.
Get him though, how ugly he is.
He is really ugly. I will put up a photo, either here or there or there. He was very ugly.
Even after prostitutes mostly.
Yeah, because
And underage runaways. I think if I remember
most of
right,
his victims were alleged to be sex workers.
yeah, if I remember right, he used a photo of his kid
Photo of his kid.
to get them to trust him.
Damn. So, he was born in Utah, Salt Lake City. He has some brothers. His home life was somewhat troubled. His mom was kind of demanding when he was young and witnessed many violent arguments between his parents.
Yep, he had bedwetting problems.
He had bedwetting problems. Okay.
Like I said.
One of the many other signs. His mom kind of, it's rumored that his mom may have like sexually assaulted him as a kid.
That has been everywhere, and it would actually kind of make sense. He did stab his young boy when he was, I don't remember, he was 16. He stabbed a boy. I think it was in the liver or lung.
It was the rib into his liver.
Yeah.
It went through his rib, and the liver's downwards a bit, so it would have kind of been like in a downwards diagonal that he got stabbed.
But that was one of the things I should have said. He's got problems.
Yeah.
You don't see many kids running up to each other going.
Yeah, but I do think his like sexual abuse from his mom could have somewhat laid into him and what his future ways of murder.
Yes.
And why he would
but
kill.
I think his mom also made him watch her have
Adult fun
activities.
time?
Yeah. I find that the best way to put it with other people. So.
That's kind of up on his mom's end.
Yeah. So he was kind of sex workers and women after that life would have been.
Yeah.
They're disgusting. They don't
But,
deserve.
once
to
he
live.
graduated high school, he seemed like a pretty normal man. He married his high school girlfriend. He joined the Navy, got sent to Vietnam. He served on board ships, saw combat. He did have, while he was not overseas, but like on the boats and like overseas and kind of doing his thing, he would have adult fun time with sex workers.
He was
His marriage ended within a few years.
psychopathic sex addict.
Yeah, and then, which kind of led into his murders. He ended up murdering at least 71 teenage women and teenage girls and women near Seattle, Tacoma, and Washington.
The hard thing about some of the victims, some of them were kind of just thrown in the woods. The rest were actually in the river.
Yeah.
But that would wash away evidence and stuff. So.
It would. He would get prostitutes and sex workers and just vulnerable looking teenage girls and women off the sides of the streets.
He would rape them and then choke them with like their own shirt or pantyhose.
Yeah, he would like force them into stuff. He would do this, he'd do that, and then he'd kill them. He'd either throw their bodies into the woods or into the river.
I think he would, if I remember right, he'd say, what was it? You'll get to live if you listen to me.
And then they never would. Like, because they
If I
listened.
remember right, he also had intercourse with them while they were dead.
So again, more, that's called necrophilia.
I'm not comfortable saying that word. I find
So-
the people creepy.
Necrophilia, which was Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, him so far
Not just
too.
serial killers are okay with this.
which is kind of weird, but also I mean, if you're going to kill someone, then I can understand why they think, well, they're dead, they're not going to fight back, which is a lot of the appeal with this is they're dead, they're not going to fight back, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, they like to overpower women.
Yeah, that was their whole thing. They liked being in charge, and so they would use that against the women or men in Jeffrey Dahmer's case.
Like normal. He seemed like a normal dude, but
Seemed like a normal dude on the outside, but at night or like in secret, he was not a good dude. Did they ever find all of the bodies in the river?
they're not sure.
Not sure, because he only admitted to. Well, they believe he murdered at least
I
71.
think they found a skeleton too. It was buried for a while ago.
Yeah.
But if I remember right, he had police take him out there to go find them.
Find him. Wow. Damn.
He's one of those ones that like enjoying and revisiting his kills.
Which is also something you shouldn't do, because then it's gonna kind of leave more evidence that, oh, you were there. Don't revisit your kills, people. Honestly, overall, I think a lot of serial killers are really stupid.
Well, the ones that got caught.
The ones that got caught. They're said to be, at least at all times, 100 serial killers
Yeah,
out and about.
Jack the Ripper didn't get caught.
He never got
the
caught.
Zodiac killer.
Zodiac killer. Probably dead now, though.
That's what they think. They think he died because the killings just stopped. So they think he got arrested for an unrelated crime or he died.
Yeah.
So,
I guess.
also, if you're a serial killer, don't get arrested for another crime. Then they get your DNA, fingerprints, and half a dozen other stuff.
Yeah. They'll have everything on you, and they can link you to all of your other crimes. I am so glad I haven't been linked to my other crimes. That was a joke.
What are you doing? We have like 8 minutes.
We have no reason to question me. Alright, so next up, John Wayne. Stupid.
The killer clown.
Stupid. Probably where the original whole thing with killer clowns came around from. He was a birthday party clown dude.
He was also a construction worker.
I hate how he looks. He's terrifying.
Creepy. He got arrested for sodomizing a boy.
Yeah.
That's
But
why he moved.
his whole thing though was he'd go to a birthday party and that's where he'd get the boys, which is really obvious. Because it's like, oh, well, all these kids are disappearing at birthday parties, and this clown dude.
Actually, not a lot.
Well, a lot of them were.
Actually, no. Most of them came from his construction working.
Well, then they'd kind of connect him and be like, okay, well, all these boys
that's
were
what they
here.
call him.
All these boys were here, and so was this dude.
It was especially this one boy that was working at like a gas station or something. He went to go talk to Gacy, I guess. I call him Gracie for some reason. But Gacy about a job that pays better. And he just poof.
Went missing. So he would kidnap these boys, rape them, like sexually assault them, in his house too.
Bury him under his house.
They'd bury. That must sound horrible.
Somewhere, I think, under the garage concrete too.
Well, I guess that's kind of in case.
I think it was the body of the one that went missing, the one that got reported by the worker. I think they found him in the river or something.
In the river.
Or he like threw him in the river, but I don't think they ever found his body.
I think
I'd have to remember.
he was kind of stupid for taking people that he like knew a bit.
Oh, it was because
There are obviously people, especially if people see it, or like if they look back at this, like at kids' history, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, well, here's it this time, and this dude walked in and afterwards he was never seen again.
yeah, it was kind of strange too because it was also hitchhikers and stuff he took, but it was kind of strange because he really didn't have an MO.
No.
It just depends who is available.
Yeah, and you just kind of.
I think he sold one of their cars too, like a retard.
Well, that's gonna get you caught because they're tracking the car now. And then, last but not least, one of my least favorites, Albert Fish.
He was a total disgusting creep, and it was his fault for sending that letter.
So he was a guy way back when who would kidnap and kill kids. He was known as the boogeyman, real life boogeyman.
He would eat and rape them.
He would eat and rape kids. He'd torture them, a bunch of like sexual stuff. And it was both boys and girls, correct? And there's this one girl, this one case. He sent a letter to her family after killing
They were
and
able
eating
to
her.
track him down because they found out what the letter came from.
Yeah.
And that way.
But he ended up describing everything about how he killed her, raped her, cooked her, ate her. Basically traumatized his parents.
Oh, he did it little at a time too. He
Yeah.
describes how they cut off